Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I want to show you how to make this pet bandana. I am using mine for my dog. You can do it for pretty much any kind of pet if you think a bandana would be a good idea. I'll show you how to do it in two different ways. It's kind of like the same pattern. We will be doing clusters of 3 double crochets, but there are some differences to this. At the end of the video I'll talk about it and do a little comparison and some pros and some cons. The first one we're going to do in a half circle, so we're going to start actually at the bottom down here and work our way up. And for the other one, we're going to start at the tip and then do rows all the way up. Really big disclaimer. Please don't put this on your pet and leave it unattended. We have holes in here and they can get stuck or, catch onto something. So please really don't do that. Really do take care of your pet. Material wise, I will be using a thick cotton yarn, so an 8/8 cotton. I think cotton is by far the best type of yarn to use for a project like this. It's light, it's breathable, it's affordable as well, and it can be washed at a very high temperature. So if you have a pet like mine that drools a little bit, you can easily wash it. Again, you can use a thinner cotton yarn or a thicker one. That depends on your liking. It will get a little lighter if you use a thinner cotton yarn, but that is really up to you. And then use your corresponding hook. And again, you can make one of these for yourself if you want to. It actually works out really well for a shawl like this. You can just make it bigger if you want to. And for the first method I'm going to show you, so this one, I actually have a video out there where I do show the technique, but as a shawl, or you can roll it up and use it as a scarf if you want to. That is really up to you. And in that, I will link to that video in the description. And in there, I also have some suggestions for color changes and borders. I will talk about color changes when I show you how to do these two different ones. When would be a good time to do it, and also, how we're gonna do it. But let's jump right into the tutorials. So for this first method, we're going to work in a ring. So we're going to start by chaining 4 and connecting them to a ring. You can also do a magic ring if you prefer that. But let's start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to find our first chain down here and go down and slip stitch to form the ring. Like that. So that gives us a nice little ring to work in. We're not going to work all the way around in a circle, but kind of like a half circle. But let's get started. We're going to start by chaining 4, 2, 3, and 4. So this will be our bottom of the pet bandana. And then we're going to add in a cluster of 3 double crochets. So that is just 3 double crochets next to each other. So 1, 2, and 3. On this first round, we're going to have 2 clusters. So between the clusters, we're going to chain 2. So 1 and 2. And then next to it, we're going to add another 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So this is our top, the top of our pet bandana, and we want to mirror the sides. So we're going to have something like this at the bottom over here as well. We're going to chain 1 and add in a double crochet. So this is the basic of our pet bandana, and we're going to work our way around all the way up. So we're going to start again. So start by chaining 4, and this is a repeat. Every round will be the same from now on. So chain 4, turn your work. I have a cluster down here, a chain space, where we're going to add in a cluster of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to go up to the top and put in another cluster, so 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And since this is the top, we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to add in that same chain space another cluster of 3 double crochets. When you have done a few rows, this kind of becomes a mindless pattern where you don't really have to think about what you're doing. One of the things you could do to help yourself is to mark out the top with a little stitch marker or something like that, just so you always know when you're at the top if you're doing a larger project, especially if you're doing something for yourself where you will get a lot of rows. Then we're going to go down into the chain space down here and put in a cluster of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we are going to chain 1 and put in another double crochet. And that is it. That is how the pattern goes. So just chain 4, turn your work, and just keep going at it. When you think your project is big enough, you can just fasten off when you get down to a corner down here. And as I mentioned, I have another video where I use this pattern as well. And in there you can get some tips and tricks to color changes and also on how to do a border. I would definitely do a color change between each round if you want to do that, or well, maybe not between each round, but if I am doing a color change, I'll do it down here. You can attach your yarn any way you like. It doesn't really matter, and it's fairly straightforward and easy. And again, when you're done, when you think you have the right size, you just fasten off when you're down here at the bottom. And you can see here, this one is rather big because my dog is rather big. But as you can see, I did the same thing down here. So here's my starting point, and I have worked my way out. So let's jump into method number 2. So for method number 2, we're going to start down here. We're actually also going to start with a circle as we did with the other one, but we're going to work in rows. So we're going to complete this one, turn our work, do this one, turn our work, and next row, and so back and so forth. So it's a little bit different, but again, we're going to start with a ring, even though we're crocheting in rows. You can do a magic ring as well if you want to, but I am going to chain 4 and connect it to a ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, into the first chain, do a slip stitch, and we get ourselves a nice little ring. Like that. And then we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. This will count as our first double crochet. And we're going to add 4 double crochets in the ring. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is our first little cluster of double crochets. So we have our 3 double crochets in here, which are kind of the cluster, and then we have the sides, and that is how this pattern goes. But let's get to row number 2. So we're going to start by chaining 3 again, and now it's just a repeat. So every row you're going to start by chaining 3, turn your work, and then in that same stitch, so this one up here, we're going to put 3 double crochets. So 1 and 2 and So we're going to have our clusters, and then on each side we're going to have an extra, which means your first one and your last one will be a cluster of 4 instead of 3. So we're going to move over to this top chain. So we're going to have like 1, 2, and 3 stitches. So that's those 3 double crochets, and then we have our chain 3. And in this chain up here, we're also going to add in 4 double crochets. So it can be a little tight in the beginning, but you'll get the hang of it. Just make sure it's in the chain, like that. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now you can see we're starting to build it up, and the 2 first rows are the only ones that, you know, they're not complicated, but you just need to know what you're doing. From now on, it'll just be repeats. So let's again start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn your work in that same stitch. So this one, add in 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now we are going to work in the chain spaces between the clusters. And in there we're going to add 3 double crochets. So the 4 double crochets are only the first one and the last one. In between we're only going to do 3 double crochets. And my yarn is a little tangled, like that. And then we have the last one over here, and again use your 3rd chain from the beginning, from the last row. So go in there and add 4 double crochets. 2, 3, and number 4. If you're going to do color changes, I suggest you do them between each row. And so now would be a good time. You can just fasten off, attach your new yarn any way you like, any way you want to do it, and continue. You can do pretty much whatever you like when it comes to creating a colorful pattern. Let's bring this one in here. You can see again, when you get to more rows, you're just going to use the chain spaces between the clusters of 3 double crochets. That is how this one goes. Let's talk a little bit about the difference between the 2 patterns. Here we have the 2 of them next to each other. I thought I was really clever to do them in the same color, because then it would be easier to see the difference. Again, it's not really working out the way I wanted to, but you can see that there's a difference in the pattern. So again, down here we did our rows, and over here we started actually down here instead. This one, the first method, it's a little more airy. There's a little more space in between. So even though I think I've used pretty much the same amount of yarn for those 2, they're pretty much the same size. This one feels a little lighter, so maybe I used a little less yarn to get the same size. Whereas the other one feels a little more dense somehow. I will say that method number 2, it's the line down here gets a little more straight, whereas for method number 1, it's like it's a little more curvy. I don't know if you can tell, but it's leaning a little more. But I mean, again, for a pet bandana, I think that's just fine. So I don't think there's really any pros or cons to one or the other. I think it's up to you. I would suggest that you just, make a small sample. Just do like, 3 or 4 rounds of both of them, and then, kind of compare them and see which one do you like. and then go with that one. And again, it's not a it's a pretty quick project, so I don't think, you know, if you regret one of them, I don't think that will it won't take up too much of your time. And as I mentioned before, you can make one for yourself. Again, I do have this shawl video where I show how to make it in a very different material, and it gives a very different look, but it is the same pattern, so it's very versatile. So that was it for today. This was the pet bandana. Again, please don't leave your dog or your pet unattended when they're wearing these, because they can very easily get stuck in something because we have the holes in the pattern. So please be aware of that. Other than that, enjoy this pattern. Please tell me if you made this or not, and I also love to hear which one you prefer. I don't think I have a favorite, but maybe you do. Oh, and one last thing I want to mention for the closing. I sewed a button onto to both of them, so you know you can just go in on that other side and close it off, and that gives a really nice closing. And I think, yeah, I did the same for this one, so I will definitely suggest that you do that. Other than that, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.